I had a fantastic conversation with Dan recently where he used an analogy of how sometimes we can believe that we're trapped in a situation, like a prisoner sitting in a prison in chains. A stronghold within our minds, a wrong belief that something has to continue to be a certain way. Not realising that it is ourselves at times that is keeping us there, because God has already unlocked the chains. So in some ways we are still sitting there shackled because of ourselves and because of lies from the enemy. But we're already free. As Galatians 5:1 states, it is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. And if we look down, we can see that the locks around our wrists are actually locked, and we only ever had to take them off all along. This conversation with Dan stirred something within me and got me wondering about how we're hearing so much at the moment about bubbles. Who do we let in? Who's in our bubble? Social bubbles, work bubbles, family bubbles. But what about thought bubbles? What thoughts do we allow in? What thoughts are affecting us? What thoughts are we allowing to shape our days? Are they good thoughts? Are they helpful? Are they wholesome? Are they of God? Why is it we often think so much more about that one thing that is forbidden to us or just not good for us? Like Adam and Eve with the forbidden fruit. Or that one thing that isn't going very well. Those of us who have to watch what we eat are all too familiar with that overwhelming desire to eat everything we shouldn't. What thoughts do we have that keep us in prisons that we actually don't really need to be in? I'm very much an overthinker, but I'm not what I think I am, because we often hold on to all kinds of lies about ourselves. Just because we desire that naughty biscuit or cake doesn't mean we've got to eat it. But if we do eat it, it doesn't mean that we're the failures that we often tell ourselves that we are. It just means we're human and we need to get back on that wagon and persevere. For if we are doing our best overall, and we're doing what we believe God truly wants us to do, then living in self-judgment, in negative thinking and in bondage is not God's will for our lives, and we can live in His truth. You might be a fantastic person and have an awful thought, but that awful thought does not make you an awful person. In Isaiah 55 we read, "For just as the heavens are higher than the earth, so my ways are higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts." Our thoughts are not who we are. Who we think we are is not who God knows we are. I heard a quote recently by Steve Furtick where he was saying how he wants more of God's thoughts in his life. Thoughts that come from God. Thoughts that lead to God. I don't know about you, but I want that too. And as it says in 2 Corinthians 10 verse 5, we can take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. We don't have to believe our own thoughts, because the way we talk or think about ourselves really is not how God thinks about us. Because through Christ, I'm a new creation. And in Matthew 6:34, it says, "So do not worry about tomorrow, for today has enough troubles of its own." Maybe instead, the rule of 6 in our social bubbles would be a good thing for our thoughts too. Maybe we simply don't have enough room to comfortably fit tomorrow's worries into today's thought bubble too. Instead, let us renew our minds with His word, Romans 12:2. It is our faith that sets us free. Imagine living in a world where you live by God's truth instead of the lies bandied around in your own mind. I'm not saying that this is necessarily an easy thing to do, but it will be worth it. And yeah, this is cringy, But using the words from the L'Oreal advert, it will be worth it because you are worth it. For God's word tells us that that is true.